Did you know that you can create a bit of your own luck on Instagram by using ads instead of relying on the algorithm? It's true. You can use a simple reach campaign to access a lot of people without depending on Instagram's algorithm to send out your content, which is not really happening reliably these days. I've seen a lot of people complaining about Instagram's reach. I've seen big creators especially talking about, I have 300,000 followers and I'm only getting 100 views on a reel instead of tens of thousands or sometimes hundreds of thousands like I used to be getting. We can take that kind of whole thing that's happening, put a little power back in our hands, and use the ad platform to ensure that every piece of content that we have gets at least somewhat of a fair shake. To do that, we're going to run an awareness campaign using Facebook ads. So this campaign deep dive here is going to be two parts. The first one, I'm going to walk you through some key points in the setup process. And the second part, I'm going to walk you through how I set mine up that I've been running for a little while now and testing, and show you some of the particulars that I decided to try personally. So let's start with a new campaign. We're going to go to the green create button, and we're going to go very, very basic here. This top objective awareness, it exists for a reason. We're going to select this reach objective when we get there. So we're going to go continue. We're going to leave on advantage campaign budget. I'm going to go with $1 a day for this setup because that's what I've been using for the one I'm going to show you in a minute. So you can see kind of, what happens for very little ad spend. Now here's where we want to pick the specific thing to use for this campaign objective, the performance goal. So there's this drop down. Right now it has maximize the reach of ads. Ultimately, this is where we're going to end up. But the reason I want to look at the other ones is to talk about why we're not going to choose them, or why I don't want to choose them. So if I maximize the number of impressions, my ads are going to be shown to the same person multiple times. It's trying to get the ad seen as much as possible. So if it shows it to one person 1,000 times, that's 1,000 impressions. I don't want that. I want every person to see my ad one time and then self-select if they actually enjoy the content. And I'll dig into the details about that psychology in just a minute. Next, we could select maximize ad recall lift. Now, this is going to cause Meta to look for a specific type of user, somebody who is going to remember having seen my ad. This platform has so many data points on people, more than we could possibly imagine, I'm sure. I don't want it to optimize for a specific type of person. I don't want any coloration of the data or the intent behind this ad campaign. I want it to blast it out to as many people as possible. And again, let them select with their attention. We can also do video view goals. We can maximize through plays, which is, different type of thing depending on the length of the video. And we can maximize continuous 2-second views. Again, this is going to look for a specific type of individual who likes video content or has shown a history of consuming video content more than other types of content. And I don't want that either. Again, I don't want any coloration. As many people as possible. That's what I'm after. So we're going to go to maximize the reach of ads. Now I'm going to scroll past a bunch of stuff here. I'm going to come to audience controls, and specifically I'm going to come to advantage plus audience. The argument can be made to leave this on or off. I don't like advantage plus audience, generally speaking, especially with conversion campaigns or traffic campaigns. I just don't think it works very well. However, I have been testing it with this and I'm liking the results so far. So for me in this setup process, I'm going to choose to leave this on. But I am going to set some suggestions. I know that my audience specifically is under the age of 44 primarily. So I'm going to set the top of the age range to 44 and then leave it at that. This is just a suggestion. It's not necessarily guaranteed to stick to this. And as you'll see in a minute, my results have not necessarily stuck to this either. But it's leaned more in the 18 to 44 range because I set this. Back up to locations. This is really up to you. Where do you want to grow? Where do you want to long-term build a fan base, build an audience, build a following? You could go just your home country. I live in the US, so I might just include that. I might include like a bunch of similar countries like US, UK, Canada, Australia. I might even go broader, like look at Spotify countries, go to like tier 1 and tier 2 countries. If ultimately my goal is to get people to listen to my music, download my music, buy my music, that type of thing. I might start a little bit more broad and do something like that. So it's totally up to you. It's where you want to grow. That's what you should include here. And then as for targeting, you can give suggestions if you're doing the advantage plus audience thing. So I could edit this detailed targeting thing. It's not guaranteed to pay attention to it, but because of the thing above, going for a reach campaign, trying to have an uncolored, unbiased campaign, I don't want to include anything here. I want to leave this completely open because I don't want any sort of like direction to the campaign. The point of this is to allow people to self-select with their attention. By giving someone the option to watch or not watch, click through or not click through, without any sort of guidance or direction pretty much for the ad platform, to me, this feels like the fairest test and the closest thing to like an algorithm for a brand new account that you could come up with, that I could come up with. Obviously, there's going to be some coloration for a seasoned account, somebody who's got thousands of followers on Instagram. The algorithm knows kind of who you're looking for and who has responded to your content in the past. But for Square One, we have no idea. So this is a great methodology to use for an artist who really doesn't know who their core fan base is yet. If you have a good idea, like I make this specific type of music, then yeah, you can include that in the targeting. But if you are not positive, you're not feeling great about that, leave it open. Just let the people decide. Let them tell you what they want. If you leave it a little bit open, then you will understand better about your audience based on the data rather than guesswork. And data is going to be more valuable long-term than the guesswork ever could be. So now that we've looked at kind of some details of the setup process, let's look at my campaign that I've been running to see the results. I have this reach campaign. I've been running it for $1. This is the past 3 days of results. So this is 3 days of ad spend. I've spent $2.85, $1 a day. Hasn't quite spent the entire dollar a day, but that's cool, whatever. I've reached 15,000 people, 19 cents per 1,000 people reached. And I actually have 4 link clicks on this at 71 cents per click. And considering how some campaigns go these days, 71 cents per click is not incredible considering the countries that I've included here, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And this isn't even a campaign that's optimizing for people to click through on the link. So it's like a happy upside, happy accident. I think it's pretty cool. And then obviously the click-through rate is very, very low because that's not what we're optimizing for. And I've got 33 video plays at 95%, which is to be expected, quite frankly. If we go through to the ad set level, you can see I'm using my song Hero to test this. I've laid all this out for you in the setup process. I'm using tiers 1 and 2 countries to test. Advantage Plus targeting, ages 18 to 44. And then I'm doing a split test for 3 different ads here. Now, the split test I'm doing is for the call to action on these ads. I wanted to try some new calls to action in ads and kind of see what might work best. So obviously, it's kind of no surprise. The one with the Spotify logo on it is doing the best. But then, these others are not doing nothing, right? Like I've added Spotify green to the listen now kind of floating text. And then I have one without any text at all on it. It's just the cover art. There's no call to action like baked into the visual. And it's just the lifted listen now call to action that's native to the platform. And that one is actually doing the second best over the last 3 days, which is quite interesting to me, I think. If we go back to the ad set level, I'll show you the breakdown so we can look at age here. You can see that it has largely listened to the guidance that I gave it. Ages 18 to 44 have the most results, but there are some results above that from 45 to 65 plus. There are definitely some results there. It's not unexpected with Advantage Plus audience. I kind of thought that would happen. I actually thought it would be worse, which is one of the reasons I'm not unhappy with using Advantage Plus audience for this campaign, because it's not nearly as bad. That like skew from 45 plus is not nearly as bad for this as it has been for other campaign types in the past. And also the point here, again, is to let people self-select with their attention. If somebody who's 55 years old is into my music, like I'm not going to be upset about that. And I'm happy that I found them. And then next we can go to the country breakdown. And this will be the last bit of data that I'll show you about this. And if we organize this by results, which it looks like it already is, you can see that the results are largely in line with generally the population of these countries for the most part. South Korea, US, Germany, Japan, United Kingdom, Spain, like these are all, tens, hundreds of millions of people in these countries. And as we go down the list, the results get lower, of course, but also the population size of these countries that I've included get smaller, all the way down to teeny tiny little Monaco that has, like 40,000 people in it. So it's to be expected that it would fall basically this way. Okay, so that's the full breakdown of how to set this up. Well, not the full, but mostly the breakdown of how to set this up and then what I've experienced in testing this. But let's take a step back, 30,000 foot view, and ask why we want to do this. What benefit is there to us in doing this? Obviously, as I spoke on earlier, we're replacing the algorithm a little bit and ensuring that every piece of content that we put inside of this campaign gets somewhat of a fair shake and gets eyeballs on it. So, number one, we can split test content. You can upload ads natively to the platform, or you can use existing posts within your Instagram account or even your Facebook account if you want to, and boost those posts with this campaign. You'll get that data baked into the organically posted content on your profile, so you get all the views and stuff on it. All the engagement maps to something that's public facing, but then you also get to see what's working better and worse, so you can lean into more content like that or more ads like that. Let's say I post 3 reels to Instagram. I drop all 3 of them in here and I use an existing post and an ad. Then I can look at the results of that. I can look at the cost per reach, the number of people I've reached, and then I can look at the video view breakdown, which ads have the most amount of video views on them. I can change the display here in the ads manager to see that. And then I can take the 2 that performed the worst and I can stop running them as ads, and I can even archive them on my profile if I want to, and then just keep that one post that's doing really well, put all of my budget into that, keep it live, and then I can repurpose that and even reuse it, that exact post with that exact same engagement on it, as an ad to send people to Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube Music or whatever else. So I can use that, kind of pull double duty with the same ad. Now, the second thing I can do is I can take all the people who I reach with these ads, anybody who engages with my content, whether they view it, they like it, they comment on it, whatever, that is going to dump them into people who have engaged with my Instagram account. So I can take all that, I can make an audience of people who have engaged with my Instagram account over the past 365 days. And anybody who enjoys what they see when they're served up this ad, anybody who self-selects in by giving the content their attention because they enjoyed it, will have engaged with my Instagram account and get dumped into this audience, which then I can use to retarget for other things down the funnel, like getting them to listen to my music, collecting email addresses for leads, or selling merchandise to them. And I can use that seed audience as a lookalike audience to then go out and find more people like that for other ad campaigns as well. So I can retarget these people for a release campaign. I can build in that data beforehand. I can use that lookalike audience to give my future release campaigns when I throw $50, $100 a day at a release. I can give myself a bit of a springboard and hopefully start in a better position than cold targeting. There are a lot of benefits to this. There's a lot of upside to doing this and taking advantage of some of these, let's say, more ignored campaign types that we just generally don't use a lot of with music. So we can create our own luck here rather than guessing about who we're targeting and always relying on cold targeting too. So that's it for this one. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to go deeper with topics just like this every single week, then I hope you'll subscribe to my newsletter, The One Thing. Every Tuesday, I send out one thing that I am either thinking about or testing to succeed as an independent artist in the digital age. So if you want to subscribe to that, I'll leave a link to do so in the description of this video. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.